Hi, Chris. How's it going?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks for willing to do this.
Yeah, how's your day going?
Good. What about you?
It's good. Just busy.
Yeah. So I could just jump around then with your career so far.
Sure, yeah.
So I know that the first voiceover professional was the Incline Railway spot, but
Yeah. It was for not the incline itself that actually came a few years later, but for like a commercial back in my hometown.
yeah.
And I actually, although I lived there for like 15 years, I just went on the incline railway for the first time this past March, like
Oh,
2 months ago. Yeah, but it's still really cool because it's like a hometown attraction. So that was fun.
was that before or after the Dr. Levenstein movie?
Oh, that was before.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I think so. My first, yeah, so I did the Incline Railway commercial first, and then, oh, wait, no, oh, wait, I thought you were talking about something else. Nope, the Dr. Leavenstein movie came first when I was still doing on camera work.
Yeah.
Yes, and then the voiceover started. Okay, there we go. I thought you said a different project. I know the projects I've been in, it's fine.
That's a pretty interesting credit.
Yeah, it was really fun. I had never been in a vampire movie before, so it was really cool. We shot at this place in Chicago, and everyone was really great. And I just remember screaming a lot. So, you know.
Mhm. Do you have any aspiration to go back to on camera?
No, I don't think so. Maybe if like the right project came along, but I come from a musical theater background, and then I hopped into film, and then I hopped into voiceover, and I just enjoy voiceover so much more. So I don't know if I would go back. Maybe I've been thinking about that recently, but I don't know.
So I know when you did get to LA, what was the first professional VO job that you got?
When I moved to LA, hmm, I can't remember the exact first one because moving to LA is very chaotic. But I think one of the first ones that I booked with my first LA agent was actually for Google. But it was for like there's some big tech conference that happens in Las Vegas every year, and they like decked out one of the train cars or something with Google stuff. So it was for that train car.
Oh,
I've never heard it. But that was fun. And then pretty soon after I moved here, I started working for a dubbing studio, and I would hop on sometimes to do Walla or like extra voices on some of their projects. So I think those like are around the first two that I did here.
well, and speaking of dubbing, I have found that people who had music experience or theater experience or both took to it a lot easier. Was that your experience too?
Yeah, I actually really like dubbing. I really like having the band, seeing like a start and a stop time. I like listening to the original performance because to me it's kind of like listening to a piece of music,
Hmm.
and matching the inflection and matching the pitch and the tone. Uh, yeah, and all of those things together in my brain, it works just like music or like reading a piece of sheet music or like listening to something and then saying it back.
Hmm.
So yeah, I really enjoy dubbing actually.
Is there a special story of how you got into SAG too, or you're not in SAG yet?
Honestly, there's no special story. I worked on a couple union projects, and uh, I was Taft-Hartley'd on them, and then I think I might have been Taft-Hartley'd on like a few too many. I think it's supposed to be two, but I don't know, like maybe one of them didn't get reported or something. I don't know. But then I got cast in another union thing, and they were like, okay, you have to join now, and I was like, oh, okay, great,
Hmm.
great, I will do that. So no, nothing like super special. But yeah, yeah, that's how it happened.
Well, so then in terms of anime or like anime games, was a Shadowverse one of the first things?
Yes, yes, Shadowverse I think was the first anime style thing that I ever worked on. I'm trying to think. There was another video game that I think I worked on before that, but I don't think it was anime style. So yeah, when I booked that one, I was like, "Ah, this is so exciting." I really loved Folia. She was really fun. Yeah, so that was the first one.
And then I would guess these are voiceover, but like the Doctor Who credit, was that voiceover too?
Yes, I think those were like audio dramas.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was also fun.
What about with Miraculous?
Miraculous. I was working at the dubbing studio that voices it into English, and I think they just like needed an extra voice for this random character, and I was like, okay, cool, like great, I'll do it. And then this character is like come back. um, she's definitely not a big part. Clara Contard, she's just one of the reporters, but every so often they'll be like, hey, can you come in and record this one line? And I'm like, yeah, great. So uh that's fun. But I was just kind of, they mostly audition for that, but I think sometimes for one-off characters, they'll just kind of use anyone who's around. And so I was around and they knew I moved here for voiceover and they were like, you want to try your shot? And I was like, yes, I do. And you never know when characters are going to come back for the most part. So it's been really cool that Clara Contard has come back.
Mhm. And it seems like you often use more of your natural voice for characters, but has there been a case where you've significantly altered it for something?
Yeah. Let's see. There's actually this animation that came out this year. I think it's just on Discovery Kids in Brazil right now, but hopefully it'll come to the US soon. It's called Bada Bean, and I played twin paper doll cutout sisters, and they're very fun. And Becky is more like my voice, but like a little bit more excited and like, oh my God, go girl, and Cleo is it's like all vocal fry and she's just like talking down, which I obviously don't talk like that. But so I do that for Cleo. And then there was another podcast that I did for the Ringer. Um and I had to voice an old woman, which I don't normally do. So that one was a reach for me. But those two are probably the most that I've altered my voice. But you're right, I do a lot of it all sits right around here.
Mhm. Have you gotten to do boy voices at all yet?
Yes, I've done some boy voices, but like, a line here or a line there in a bigger uh game or a bigger show. So just kind of like here and there. Like I think I did some boy voices on Bada Bean too, but kind of just in the background. But I'm still waiting to like be cast as a boy. That would be really fun.
Do you have a particular vocal process for that? Because I've found that certain people, certain voice actresses do specific things.
um, I don't have a specific thing. Maybe I might have like a saying that I get into.
Mhm.
My friend, I'm looking at it right now. My friend got me this like cross stitch. We were both working on our boy voices together. And she got me this cross stitch. And it says, I think my boy nuts are dropping. With like the little name that I named my boy voice. So sometimes I'll say that to like get into it. So I'm like, oh, I think my boy nuts are dropping. So like that's like the the sentence that I use, which is I think very silly and fun. But definitely it's more like the back of the throat, a little raspier, uh, a lot of inflection down, because girls we tend to have like an up inflection at the end of sentences
Mhm.
like I did just there. And boys, generally speaking, go down more. So I also try to think about that. Um, yeah, I guess that's my process, if that can be considered a process.
Mhm. Well, one thing, because I still find that I learn new answers about it every time. Because I'm sure you know who Reba Burr is.
Yeah.
She said that when I interviewed her, that it's almost like she's holding a ball in her mouth when she does
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. I actually, I used to have vocal nodes.
Yeah.
So honestly, talking like a boy kind of reminds me of when I had nodes. So I kind of try to go back to that muscle memory,
Mhm.
not in a not in a way that I would be injured again.
Yeah.
But it's just the way that I spoke while I was recovering. So I try to think about that. Like it's a little drier too, so I might not drink and like I might not drink water if I'm recording it because I kind of want to like be this like raspy, whatever. And like I'm not I'm not actually constricting, but it sounds like I'm constricting.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, then in terms of anime, was it a D4DJ?
Yeah, yeah. Wait, my gosh. Yes, I think D4DJ came first. I am the worst when it comes to like dates and chronological order. Mostly everything in my brain is categorized as like alphabetical.
Hmm.
But yes, D4DJ, and then I'm pretty positive, and then it was Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but D4DJ was really fun. I loved being the little cafe barista.
Did you get to sing for that at all too? I know other cast members did.
No, I didn't get to sing for it, which would have been super fun because I have a degree in musical theater, so I love singing.
Mhm.
But no, unfortunately, not on that project.
And was Sailor Moon just like a general audition then?
I think so, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think just a general audition.
And it's cool with those because your characters have never been in the actual series before. It's the first time that they're shown.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I am actually like an anime newbie. I'm on my little anime journey right now, getting started watching things. I finished. I know that there's a lot of debate around this one, but I figured I'd start with it because it's a classic. But I started with Avatar, and I just started watching My Hero Academia.
Academia.
My husband really loves anime, so he's like, watch all of these. I'm like, I can't do all of them at one time. So I'm trying to like, do a little, but um I did watch Sailor Moon growing up.
Yeah.
That was like the one that I watched. And then right after we moved to LA, I ended up rewatching Sailor Moon.
Okay.
And then when I was casting, I was like, oh my god, like I know this one. Like this is so exciting. So I was really uh no pun intended over the moon to be cast in it. It was so fun.
Was that Todd Haberkorn directing you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really great.
Mhm. I know that you've told the story of how you became Amber, but for those people who don't know, uh, is it just pretty general too?
I again, like to me, this is all like, oh, like, run of the mill stuff like every day. But I also understand that like not everyone's a voice actor or an actor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got an audition through my agent. I think actually one time I told this story, I told it wrong because I was like, oh yeah, I don't remember auditioning for anyone else, which is true. I don't remember auditioning for anyone else, but I actually did go back and check. I did audition for multiple characters.
Yeah.
So on whatever interview I was on that, sorry, I was wrong. But I truly don't remember the other characters I auditioned for. I'd have to go back and look. But some of the original ones, obviously. So I, got the auditions from my agent. It was just emailed like, hey, this is a video game audition. Here's the due date. Get it back in time. And so obviously don't remember the other characters, but with Amber, I remember looking at it and I was like, yeah, okay, I know exactly what she sounds like. Great. And I will say that I am definitely a perfectionist. So sometimes I can spend way too much time on my auditions. I will, beat them into the ground and then send them off. But this one I was like, oh, this is what I think she sounds like. I cannot imagine her sounding any other way. So here you go. If you like it, or if you think that she sounds like this too, great. And if not, then that was my interpretation. So like all good. So sent it off, and then video games can take a while. So some like commercials can you can be cast and like you can audition one day and then like record for the job the next day. Video games take a long time because there's so much involved in a video game. So a few months go by And then I got an email saying I had a callback. So I went in person to a studio to do the callback with the director, Chris Viola,
Mhm.
who is wonderful, by the way. I guess a few weeks later, I got the email and it was like, "Oh, you're cast." And I was like, "What?" I was actually going to work. I worked as a yoga instructor for 7 years, and I was like walking to my car, and I was like, "This is so exciting!" Like, I'm in a video game and I have a name, which is great. I had been trying to kind of break into video games for a while, and it was so exciting. And truly, had no idea what Genshin was going to turn into. Um, none. None. Even when it came out, I was like, "Oh, yay, it's out. That's cool." And then, like, as the days went by, I was like, "Whoa, whoa, what?" So, I'm also like a video game noob. So, I'm like just getting into playing video games too. But yeah, that was super exciting. And like, I really love voicing Amber. The Genshin community has brought a lot of joy to my life and to my career. And it's just been, it's been great. I've had the best time.
I would think too that out of all your larger characters so far, do you relate the most to her?
Yes, I really do. I think that Amber just tries to be optimistic in situations. She tries to help out when she can. I feel like she always uh, looks for the good in people instead of jumping to point out the bad. Um, so yeah, that's how I relate to her. But I was also thinking about that too. I very much relate to Melodia as well, not because she's a brat, but because she breaks out into song all the time. And honestly, like, I will just be walking around. I'll make up songs to my dog all the time. I will make up songs to my husband. I'll just like be doing something like making lunch. Like, I do a lot of like parody songs just for my own benefit. I never record them or anything.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that I would also say that I relate to Melodia.
Mhm. Was that just a totally fun experience on Disgaea?
Oh my god, it was so fun. I think that the first direction that the director gave me was like, "Hey, she's like an annoying Disney princess. Can you do that?" And I was like, "Can I do that?" That is like, yeah, that's me. So that's like my alter ego. So I was like, hell yes, I can do this. And I just had the most fun. Sometimes they'd be like, I would do this and they're like, "Oh, like, can you actually sing that line?" And I was like, absolutely. Or like, "Can you make it a little more ridiculous?" I'm like, yes, I can, for sure. For sure. So truly, I had so much fun recording Melodia.
Mhm. And then one game credit that stands out from a lot of your others is Werewolf. Is that just additional voices?
Yeah, I did a lot of additional voices like, "Oh, you're a scientist here," or, townsperson 3 here, which was also really fun. I think that was one that I did. I might have done that one before Shadowverse, and that
Oh,
might have been like my first. Again, my brain sometimes doesn't work chronologically. But I think that that might have been my first video game credit.
mhm.
Um, and I, of course, had fun with that because I was like, "Ooh, let me be a scientist. Let me be a werewolf. Let me, you know." So it was super, super fun.
Have you had to get to a pretty dark headspace for any characters so far, though?
Um, I'd say like definitely one. I was in a dubbing show called Cable Girls on Netflix, and I played the role of Sophia, and it happens around the Spanish Civil War. So, just going through all of the emotions of like being in war and losing people you love and not knowing whether you'll survive, that that can definitely be hard because I do tend to play a lot of like really fun and lighthearted, happy characters, and this one was very real and very raw. Um, yeah, so probably that one takes the cake.
Mhm. Well, I know, of course, that one of your characters in Fire Emblem was evil too, but there wasn't a whole lot that you got to do with her yet.
True, but honestly, loved it. That was probably the darkest, I've like made my voice for a character. I am not traditionally cast as like the evil, alto person. Um, but I really do love doing those kinds of voices. And so being able to voice Letizia was like, they were like, hey, can you do this? Like you're casted that. I was like, me? You want me? Hell yes. So I actually had a lot of fun doing that.
You got Lyre first though, right?
Oh my
Or the
gosh, I
same
can't
time.
remember. I think it was the same time, but I can't remember which one I did first. Um, yeah, yep. I don't know. Sorry, my brain just like
It's all right.
it doesn't do that for some reason. But I had a great time working on Fire Emblem, and I think those two characters are just they're so different from each other, which was also really fun to play. Uh, and yeah, yeah, I really love those two characters.
Was that also Caitlin Galt directing you on both those? Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Caitlin's great.
Hmm. And it is cool too with Lyre's first appearance in the game being the like Japanese New Year's festival
Yeah.
skin.
Oh, I loved that. I loved seeing that. When they explained that to me, I was like, so fun. That was really, really cool.
Well, was there anything that you could relate to Letizia with, or
Um, I think just wanting to be heard sometimes, like, oh, like, and being misunderstood too. I feel like no person who's labeled as evil for the most part thinks that they're evil.
right?
Um, so I mean, that's definitely happened before. I feel like to everyone where you think that you're being one way and people are like, you're coming off a different way.
Mhm.
Um, so, I definitely relate to her like that.
And when they came out, did you download Heroes? Did you play it at all?
I have not played it yet because I'm the worst and I'm still look, I am still in Animal Crossing, okay? I'm I'm starting with easier games because my husband's like, "Oh, like you'll pick this up, like it's really you'll know what to do." And I'm like, what's L and R? Like what's the B? What's the A? Like I don't and he's like, "Wow, you are really not picking up how to play video games." So, my video game journey is a little slower than
Yeah.
and it's really embarrassing, but I'm working on it. And I would love to play it though. I know that there is so much love for the Fire Emblem game.
Mhm.
I and just the whole franchise. So I would love to start playing it and hear all of my colleagues too, because I have so many friends who are in it, and I want to hear all of their great characters.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, and I've also interviewed Jenny Yokobori too, and she got direct you in Rainbow High.
Yes. Yes, she did. It was Jenny and also Brenna Larson,
Yeah.
who directed me in Rainbow High. And oh, Jenny's great. Brenna's great. Rainbow High was so fun. Margot de Perla. It's funny because they were like, oh, you're cast as this character, and like she really loves pearls, and I was like, ah, that's my birthstone. So fun. Before I moved to Tennessee, I actually lived in Florida, and I'm like, ah, I'm a beachy girl. Like not really, but in like my soul, I think I am.
Yeah.
Um, um, and that was I just love Rainbow High so much. I love all of the girls. I love the like friendly competition that they have. They went to or they go to an art school.
Mhm.
I actually also went to a performing arts high school, so I relate to them a little bit. We didn't have fashion. That's like a really cool thing to focus on. But yeah, that whole franchise is just so lovely, I think.
Mhm. Do you, then this might be obvious too, but do you think you have a preference for working on lighter stuff opposed to darker, or both?
Okay, I'll say this. I really love working on the light stuff. I think that my voice is really suited to it. I kind of have a higher voice, I have a younger voice. It's more of who I am as a person. However, I have so much fun voicing the like deeper and more villainous characters. I haven't gotten a lot of opportunity to do that. I'm working on it though because I would really love. I want to like prove I'm like I can do this, and I think it would just be thrilling to voice more characters like that. And I'd also say that like one comes easier to me, the obvious one, and one is a little bit more of a challenge, which is also why I want to do it. Like I like having challenges that I can work on, and I don't want to say overcome because I don't think that the journey ever stops, but like I want to make progress on my lower and my more villainous voices.
Mhm.
You got to catch me in the morning for those though, because this voice is already warmed up today, and but when I wake up, I feel like I'm like octaves lower, which I'm probably not, but I just feel like it.
Yeah. So going back to the topic of people, who are you closest with in the Genshin community, or is it kind of everybody?
Chris, how can I be close with everyone? There are so many people in this
Or the
game. There
main
are
characters?
so many people. Um, and I'm just joking. Everyone who I've met is so lovely. I am really good friends with Stephanie Sutherland, who plays Jean. Um, I'm also friends with Brittany Cox, who is just a wonderful human. Jenny, you mentioned, we've gotten together a few times. Kaylee is great, and Christian. There's just so many people, so many people, and truly, I have good things to say about everyone who I've met. There are so many people in Genshin who I just haven't met.
Yeah.
I had somebody message me the other day about a workshop that we were taking, and they're like, "Hey, like I'm also in Genshin." I was like, "Hello, welcome." Um, it's funny because uh, there are they're always adding on to the game, and they're always adding new characters, and like we find out about that when everyone else finds out about it. Like we're not privy to any like
Mhm.
additional information, uh, which would be totally dope if we were. Like unless we're in it, like unless I'm called in to be like, hey, you have this thing. But even then, like sometimes I still don't understand like the scope of it until it comes out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love honestly, like every week I hop onto Twitter and someone's like, I'm so happy to announce that I'm in Genshin. I'm like, get it. Yes, welcome.
Yeah.
I think it's been not only the cast but the fans too. It's just been a really welcoming community too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, then your most recent credit is another cool anime game with Kirin.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So I voiced Kieran in Luminous Avenger first. And then that was like downloadable content. And then Gunvolt 3, which comes out in July, was just announced a couple weeks ago. And that was so awesome. Like Kieran, I think is such a badass. And I don't really play that many badass characters. So when they were like, hey, you want to do this? I was like, hell yes, I do. I want to feel like a badass. And that was super fun. She's really sassy, and she is strong and has a lot of attitude, which I can't relate to, but I'm just kidding. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited for that. And like I didn't know that Sean was Gunvolt.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, I'm so excited. Like whenever the announcements came out, I was on Twitter and I was like, oh, you're in this? Oh my god, you're in this. So I really can't wait for that to come out. I'm gonna try to play it like I'm trying to get on top of my games, Chris. So I'm like marking my calendar when it comes out. I'm gonna try to get it and like start playing right away.
Mhm. Well, is there
I
anything
feel like it would be weird though, just like me the whole time
else?
talking to myself.
Yeah.
What were you saying? Sorry.
Well, is there anything else that's upcoming that you're part of that you can safely talk about, or?
I don't think there's anything upcoming that I can actually talk about.
Okay.
But I am happy that Gunvolt was announced so that I can talk about that.
Mhm.
Because I think that'll be really fun. But I guess, no like new projects that I can announce right now, but I do have a Streamily signing on June 4th. And then I'm going to be at Anime Fuse in Fresno, California on June 12th. And then I'm going to be at RetroCon in Syracuse, New York in October. So those will be really fun. This is my first year going to cons. And it's like, even as a, like ever, like I've never actually, I never went to a convention before either. So it's all very fun and exciting.
Mm-hmm. I do have with every other Genshin interview I've done, I always asked them to say the Osmanthus wine line as their character.
Which line?
The Zhang Li's Osmanthus wine line. I can type it out if you don't know it.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
What is that? Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember, but where are those who are the memories? What? Where are those?
Who share the memories. Oh, whoops, that was my fault again.
Yeah, I have played Genshin before, but as somebody who died in the first few minutes because they couldn't figure out how to run, I'm way behind. It's another one that, like I said, I've started, but like it's very slow going because I am the actual worst at video games. So yeah, I don't even know where this line comes in.
It's no problem.
Oh, but it's very fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, then my final question is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
What I want my legacy to be? Oh my gosh, Chris, that is a very good question. I feel like I should have thought about that.
Oh.
Let's see, my legacy. I just would really love to bring memorable characters to life and share stories. You know, whether that is an anime story, whether it is a silly animation, whether it's a serious dubbing project. I think that there are so many stories that deserve to be told. And if I am lucky enough to have the opportunity to be involved in some of those stories, then I'll take it. You know, then I will be so happy and grateful to be a part of those stories. So if that's a legacy, then maybe that's my legacy.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, we got to do this.
Yes. And where in the world are you, Chris?
Oh, I'm outside of Minneapolis.
Oh, nice. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, it was really nice to meet you, Chris. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you as well. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.